Hey y'all, hope you're doing great. This is Happy. Welcome back to the new coding recipe. In this video, we're gonna learn how to build a basic carousel. So let's dive in. As you can see here, this is my app.js and I'm using some components. So what are these components are? So let's go there. So these are basically my style components. I'm using the basic old school style components. I'm not using material UI's style components. Maybe I'm kind of lazy to use those brackets and flag brackets and saying like you're a material UI style component and such. So I'm just following the backticks and in a couple of places I'm using inline styles. Of course, we should avoid inline styles, or at least we should not repeat ourselves. That's what dry says, right? Don't repeat yourself. So I can make this style reusable and call that object or put it into an object and mention here. But for some reason, I just did copy and paste, but please don't do that. Please make your code reusable as possible as you can. So yeah, coming to the basic building of our carousel or slider or whatever you call. So this is my style carousel and I have a style button, and this button is just having a left arrow or left angle bracket, and this style button is having right arrow or right angle bracket. And in this I have something called slider. So let's go into the slider component and see what things are there. So this is my slider component, okay, and at here also I'm using style components. So style slider is just saying display flex 30 rem of width, 20 rem of height, and overflow hidden. This is a very important thing we should be knowing about while we are building a carousel or a slider. So let me comment like it's very important. So just to highlight this, and I have something called film strip. Okay, so this is just having a width and height. And what is this film strip actually? And this is having width 100%, height 100%. And here's the thing: transition 500 milliseconds transform. And for the transform, we are having translate x. Translate x is like we need to move our particular element horizontally, right? So that's why we are putting only X. So I'm having style components props, and from that prop, I'm accessing something called active. Active is nothing but which active slide. So it's not like the whole slide, but the index of that particular slide. That is what active is, and we are playing around like with math here. So into minus 100%. It's like it will be moving, right? It should move. That's what slider is, right? So instead of me explaining, I'll show it in the UI. So at this point, we have props.children, whatever you're putting in the slider component. So this slider component is been called in this app.js, and inside this, these all are children. These all style slides are children. So that's what we're doing here. So we are passing all these style slides to the slider component, and in that slider component we have something called style slider, and this one is fixed. But who is moving? Film strip is moving actually. So film strip div will actually move so that we'll actually have a look or a feel like something is moving, and it's looking like a slider or carousel. So let me show you the output first so I don't confuse you much. So this is the output. If I click on the right button, I'm moving. This is the third one. And if I click on this again, it's not moving because there is a condition like if you are more than 3, you should not do anything. Something like that. Yeah, and if I'm clicking on the left side, it's moving. I click again, it moved, and again it's the same condition. If you are less than 0, don't move. Yeah, that's what the if condition is doing here. So let me go to the code part and come to the app.js, and I need to explain more of a CSS part, and then I need to come into the functionality, because at here we are playing around with the height and width and the CSS. So let me show you about the slider. So what is this slider? Slider is having these things. So what is this overflow hidden? So let me come to this code part. No, not code. Let me come to the output, and I'm inspecting this particular thing, app. Okay, we need this guy, right? So we have a div, and inside that div we have a button and another button, and this is our slider component. Actually, in this we have a film strip, and let's come here. I told you like we are having overflow hidden, right? Let me uncheck this. What will happen? See, I'm actually seeing those rest of the slides, right? This is how it is. So if I don't give overflow hidden, it will be like this, where it wants to show the whole number of slides that are available. So that's the reason why we are putting this overflow hidden. So I don't show you. That's what we are doing. So how it is moving. So this is our slider, styled slider. And this is our film strip. This particular div is our film strip. And inside this we have each slide. So this is our film strip, and as you can see it is having 0% as translate X, and if I'm hitting the up arrow, it's actually moving to the right hand side. So this is to the positive side. So we need to move towards the left side. So we need to give a negative axis thing. So that's the reason why I'm giving here -100. So it goes to the negative side of the x-axis. So let me hit here to the downside. So it's moving like this. So, and because of that 500 milliseconds, it involves this thing. Let me open that also. And this involves the transition property, duration, timing function is ease, and the transition delay is 0 seconds. So all these things are involved, and because of that we are having a bit of smoothness while we are moving, if you observe. So see, yeah, that's what happening with translate X here. So this is my each slide. So this is my each slide, and film strip is the guy who is responsible to make this magic happening. So slider is just a div with width of 30 and height of 20 rem, and film strip is the person, or film strip is a div. Yeah, I should not say person, but film strip is the div where it is moving the inside slides. So slides are there, but how come we are not able to see the slides? Because of the overflow hidden that is having to the styled slider, to the parent. Okay, let me go there. This is film strip, this is div, and where is this? Yeah, this is overflow hidden. So to the parent we have overflow hidden, and inside this we have a div that is film strip, and film strip is actually moving, and inside film strip we have slides. So for each slide we are having min width 30 rem. So why we are putting min width 30 rem? So if you see to the styled slider, it is having width 30 rem. Okay, this is the style slider, and this is the film strip, and this is each slide. So what if I remove this min width of 30 rem? Let's see. So what's happening? So I mean, it's not working, or what? Okay. So because of this min width 30 rem, and if I remove min height, so we are not able to see the proper output, because in each slide it should be completely 100% width and 100% height, and it should occupy the whole parent's width, right? So if it is not occupying the whole parent's width, so the slides will behave weird. So let me do this uncheck. Yeah, so this slide is having maybe some percentage, and this slide is having some percentage, but it doesn't have any min width. So that's the reason why it's behaving weird. So our each slide should occupy the whole div, or the whole space of our parent, which is our styled slider. So let me reach here. So each slide should occupy this whole space of styled slider. So it should occupy the whole width and height. That's the reason why I gave my min width as 30 rem to each slide. I'm unchecking this, and I'm giving my sorry, I'm checking this back and giving my height and giving my width. And why this is behaving weird? Because of overflow hidden is still unchecked. So let's go there and check that overflow hidden, and you can see, yeah, this is working as cool. So what did I do? I did some change. So yeah, why it's behaving like this is because I gave some input to my film strip. So that is what minus 100. So let's go back. Okay, why this is not working? Let me refresh this, or let me save, or what should I do? This is a very interesting bug that I got all of a sudden. So slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, and click again. This is good. Go back. Yeah, so this is smooth. I think it just wanted a reload, I think. So yeah, a restart or a reload most of the time works. So yeah, that's what is happening here. So I kind of mentioned we are using overflow hidden and what's translate x-axis and what about film strip, and for each slide why we are putting that min with 30 rem. If that's not the case, what will happen? So let me do one quick thing. I will comment this one. I want to be more clear about that each slide's percentage. So let me comment this one too and write slide 1. Okay, I'm being more clear here. Slide 2 and slide 3, and I'll be removing that min thing, and I'll write a border 1 pixel solid red. This will give a much more clarity for us. So as you can see, for each slide it might be some 30% or something. That's how it considered, and based on its own width size it adjusted, and it actually came up in one single view, right? In the single view itself we are able to see all the slide 1, slide 2 and slide 3. But if I click on this, so it's actually moving the x-axis. So if we go to the film strip percentage, it's going till 200, and if I click on this it reached 100, and if I click it again it raised to 0, and I'm seeing all these 3 slides because for each slide that could be 30%, and all these 3 slides are fitting up in one single view. That's the reason why we are not able to see the exact behavior of our slider. So because of this reason we are actually putting our each slide's minimum width to 30 rem. So if you see, this particular thing is having 30 rem, and because of that I'm giving 30 rem as min width to each slide. So let me reach here. This is my slide 1. Okay, and if I click on it again I'm seeing slide 2, slide 3, because I gave only to one slide. I'm giving to element style, so it applies to only one div. It won't apply to the all 3 slides or 2 slides which I am having here. So what should I do? I should give here. So if I write min width 30 rem, so it should be applying to all the things. Okay, why it is showing a strike off? Come on, yeah, it's working fine. Yeah, it's showing a strike off because I already defined a min width at here, which is element style. That's the reason why it is showing. So yeah, so slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, that's the reason why we are using a min width, which is a very important thing, because our each slide should take the whole view or the whole space of the parent. That's the reason why we are using that. So let me go to here and do that control. Let me stop the video and do this cleaned up. Yeah, hope I gave a good clarity on the slide thing, why we are giving min width as 30 rem to each slide. So let me come back to this one and hit a refresh, and as you can see, slide 1, slide 2 and slide 3, and this film strip is actually moving here. That's the reason why. Okay, and let me explain the structure again. This is style carousel, this is just a div, and this is a button, and this is a button. So these are the external ones of the slider. So inside slider, as we can see, we have this thing, a fixed div with height and width and the film strip, which will make the div move. So how those buttons are actually working. So let's go there and check how those buttons are actually working. So we just gave an on click, and for that on click we are having active. So how active is actually working and how active is actually initialized with. So we are using a hook use state, and by default it is 0, and that's what we are giving to the slider active. And whenever I click on the left hand side button, right, I'm making active -1 and giving it to the handle on click. So this if condition will check like the lower limit and the higher limit. It's just like a range. So if you are 0, so 0 is greater than -1 and value is less than 3, so set the value. So by default it is initialized with 0, right? So we won't even touch this part, because at the initialization we don't come here. Only when synthetic event is triggered, that means only when the button is clicked, on click it will be triggered, and handle on click will call this one and will get a value. And if I am on this one, and let me reload, we are on slide 1, and if I click on the left hand side button, it won't work because it will fail at this condition. 0 is greater than -1, but actually 0 -1, we are passing -1 itself to here. So I think I can console this and it will be bit more understanding. So I'm not doing -1 and +1 based on a condition in this handle on click. Please be careful about this. I'm not doing here, but I am playing at here itself. If it is right hand side button, I am adding. If it is left hand side button, I am subtracting at this level itself and giving to this handle on click. So handle on click is generic with a simple range or lower limit or higher limit condition. That's what it is. So the thing is that here, left hand side you should subtract, right hand side you should increment. So let's reach here, refresh, go to console, and if I click on this one, it is -1. So that's the reason why it is not setting the active. And if I click on this, it's 1. So active is 0, and the moment I clicked, right, the moment I clicked, the active is 0 and 1 is added. So 0 plus 1 is 1, and that's the reason why we are seeing a 1 here in the log. Okay, we are seeing 1 here in the log, and it actually considered that because 1 is greater than -1 and 1 is less than 3, so it is like a valid value within the range. So that's why we are setting that active. So the current active will be 1, and if I click it on again, so this is 2. So active we can see in the components also. Where is our app? Yeah, this is what happening. Click on this, it became 1. Click on this, it became 0. Click on this, it won't change anything. And click on this, okay, it won't do anything because of course it should be showing 2 only. It should not show 3 because we are starting from 0, 1, 2. So that's how we start in our programming world, right? So from 0 we count. So that's what. So this is the functionality of handle on click, right? And I explained why we are using min width, and I explained the film strip, why we are using translate x, and why we kept -100 because we need to go to the negative axis so that we should be seeing that something is moving in the right hand side direction, right, like this. So yeah, so I think it covered pretty of the basic things like why we are using handle on click and why we are decrementing and why we are incrementing, and I'm using an anonymous function here. If you want to understand why I'm using this anonymous function and what's the usage of this, I'll put a link in the description. You can check that, like how those synthetic events work. Like if I put like this, what will happen? Okay, and if I add a arrow function, what will happen? So that difference will be covered in that video. I'll drop that in the description. So yeah, this is what about the basic carousel or slider with the CSS and on-click functionality. So that's it. This particular video is kind of challenging for me in terms of explanation and such. So if there are any suggestions to me, please watch the end clip. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the coding recipe. and the things that I have shared are completely opinionated. If there is any modification or improvement, please drop it down in the comment section. So I will learn from them. We all can cook happy codes. And don't forget to call the YouTube's API by clicking on the subscribe button. And make those two boolean values to true by clicking on the like icon and the bell icon. And thank you again. We all cook happy codes.